Nigeria, which even if we may not be able to assess ourselves, we might have relatives or friends who have the capacity to assess such. Before I go into other interventions, let me first of all explain a few things about the ACGSF. You see, we are here today for a trust fund under the ACGSF. In practice, what the trust fund does is to reduce the weight of security by making it easier for you to have access to these funds. It does not remove the fact that an individual on his or her own can walk up to a bank and request for an agri loan under the ACGSF without the trust fund. Individuals can actually form cooperative society where they can inter-guarantee one another and place the cash collateral, which virtually makes them equivalent to a trust fund too. Individuals who wish to do this or cooperative societies can approach the Development Finance Office, put up an expression of interest letter along with a PFI, that's participating financial institution like a bank, and requests for same facility. The trust fund model is not also unique to the Adiele Trust Fund. We have had success stories of the trust fund in other places. Agreed, this is the first trust fund we are having in Abia State, but there have been success stories in other states. The Katsina State government did their trust fund in 2002, where over 20,000 farmers were empowered. In their trust funds, the Katsina State government provided 25% of the collateral, cash collateral, while the farmer cooperative societies provided 25%. The participating bank provided the rest, and then the central bank guaranteed 75% of the 50% provided by the commercial bank, reducing their actual uncollateralized equity contribution to about 12.5%. Also, interest rates was slashed down to single digit. Those of us who are used to economics will realize the higher the risk, the higher the interest. That means the more likely it is that I will lose my money, the more interest I would want to charge on that money. Whenever the trust fund comes in, it reduces the risk, and in most cases, the lending banks are also willing to reduce their interest rates. However, with or without the trust fund, the Central Bank of Nigeria will still provide 50% interest rebates on interest paid. That means whatever you pay as interest on the loan, Central Bank of Nigeria will pay you back 50% of it. Isn't the Central Bank of Nigeria wonderful? Aside this particular product, the Central Bank of Nigeria has other interventions, one of which is the Anchor Borrower Program. The Anchor Borrower Program is a program that was designed to assist companies referred to as anchors get raw materials, agricultural raw materials for their production. The idea behind the Anchor Borrower Program was the rather unfortunate discovery that a lot of companies were actually closing shop due to the non-availability of raw materials. In most of the cases, these companies had the money to purchase these raw materials that they would need to process to get to their end product. However, the raw materials were simply not available. Most of them due to the non-availability of expertise and the unwillingness to move into backward integration as they believe, and in a lot of cases, it happens to be cumbersome. Because, for instance, if you are running a feed mill, ordinarily if it's large enough, you would have enough work on your hands to say you are going to now go back to start planting the corn that you use in producing the feed. As a result of this, the central bank moved in to find a kind of linkage between the anchor companies, otherwise known as processing companies, and the farmers. The central bank in the anchor borrower program gives loans to the smallholder farmers to farm and repay to the anchor company, not in cash, but with the agricultural products they need to process. The anchor borrower program has been used widely in Abia State. We have some commodity associations in Abia State who have availed this loan, like Refan Rice Farmers Association, McPaman, that's for maize, and we have MAN for maize too. The anchor borrower program in Abia State has empowered over 4,000 farmers within the past 5 years. However, as usual, there have been many challenges in the process of assessing this loan, especially of recent by farmers, and the program itself has had a lot of hitches. A lot of these hitches it has had came up as a result of an attempt to handle the other issues that made the program to be introduced. For instance, it brings us back to that issue of 5Cs and in particular, character. A major reason why the farmers could not get loans without some of these CBN interventions was the fear of the banks that they would not repay, or rather that they do not have the requisite character. That is why the central bank engaged in these interventions. For anchor borrower program, it was discovered that in a lot of cases, the farmers indeed showed that they did not have character. We had cases where some farmers went as far as taking the fertilizers supplied for farming to the general market, sold them, and then used the funds to handle other issues rather than agriculture, and so could not pay back. And that made ordinarily an issue which should have been a civil matter, more or less a criminal issue. Because taking loans and not repaying ordinarily would have been a civil matter. But when the intentions are this way, it becomes criminal. I am happy a representative of the Commissioner of Police is here, and I believe he would agree with me that this is very true. I also want to state that there is a provision under the Act of ACGSF making it a criminal offense to divert funds from ACGSF to any other purpose aside that which it was assigned for. That means if you are giving money to do poultry and then you use the money to, let's say, buy a vehicle for transport, you have committed a criminal offense. Even if you pay back, it is still an offense. Because the major target of the central bank is to boost agriculture. You would also agree with me, for a lot of people who think, a lot of people look at it as Nigerians, they look at it the other way around. Another major issue we have had with some products, including the anchor borrower program is that at times people look at the interest rate, which is single digit, and in those days when the treasury bill was quite high and fixed deposit interest was quite high, they would look at it and say, why don't we come to central bank, take out 9%, go to the commercial bank, do a fixed deposit of 14%, wait for 1 year, return your money with your 9% and take 6%. It brings us back to the issue of character. It is also a criminal offense. And I want to tell us all, even as I hope that we will all be ambassadors of the Central Bank of Nigeria in general and the Development Finance Office in particular, in encouraging entrepreneurship. That is not worth it. Such diversions are simply not worth it because of the criminal intent that could be drawn from such and the possible punishment. Aside the anchor borrower program, we have other interventions. We have the Real Sector Support Facility, ROSSF. The ROSSF was designed not just to support agriculture, but manufacturing in general. The beauty of the ROSSF is that it encourages both greenfield and brownfield. Greenfield is new businesses, while brownfield is old businesses. So it encourages startup and expansion. The interest rate for ROSSF is 9%. However, the central bank for a while had placed it at 5% because of COVID. So anybody who is into any production from manufacturing can always go for the ROSSF. However, your application is done through a bank to the Central Bank of Nigeria, and in practice your bank, unlike in this case the ACGSF, where it is the central bank that is guaranteeing you, in practice, in ROSSF, it is your bank that is guaranteeing you for the loan. So as a result, the bank, as we know, insists on collateral for ROSSF. In fact, in most cases, they insist on as much as 100% collateral for the loan. But still, you can't beat it because of the 9% interest rate. It's still a beautiful program. Some of you would have heard of the dollar rebates for those who are into exports. This particular program is designed to encourage Nigerians to repatriate foreign currency in order to reduce the pressure on our foreign reserve, which keeps falling daily. Under this program, the central bank pays back 65 naira for each dollar repatriated and put into use for third-party users. By that I mean, you repatriate this money by having it paid through an authorized deposit money bank, and then instead of taking the money or using it yourself, you allow it to be resold to third-party user. The central bank for each dollar would give you 65 naira. However, if you decide to use that same money yourself, the central bank will still pay you back 35 naira per dollar. So in all cases, as long as you repatriate your money through the formal channel, you get the rebates. Let us put our hands together for Central Bank of Nigeria. However, these programs cannot work without our genuine participation and cooperation. I have seen people take advantage of a lot of these interventions, and at the end, it later looked like the intervention did them more harm than good. You cannot really grow without credit in business. That is a fact. Virtually every major company you know has one credit facility or the other running. But you do not take loans for consumption. There's a difference between an emergency loan and that you just did, you saw somebody with a new shirt, you decide you would like to have that kind of shirt, and you decide to take a loan to purchase it. That's the major problem we have. When the ACSMIS was on board, I know a lot of people who applied for ACSMIS. But we can count those of them who actually invested those funds in businesses. I do not want to talk about the TCF, popularly known as COVID loan. A lot of people who took those loans, even when we call them on the phone to find out how they are doing, from what they say, it's obvious that they are assuming that it's not a loan, that is free money. They will tell you that it's COVID palliative. As we go to the let us send this message to our friends and relatives, and even ourselves. If we are beneficiaries of that COVID loan, that it is what it is, a loan that will be repaid. Some of us do not realize the major function of the BVN. I hear a lot of people saying that with BVN somebody can take money from their account and all that. That's not true. The major function of the BVN is to identify you specifically as an individual. This means with your BVN, unlike 15, 18 years ago, where we had what we call serial debtors. You would see someone, he would go to Oceanic, take 200 million, give a house as collateral. Same person will go to UBA, take 50 million, give them the same house as collateral. He will go to Diamond Bank, take 30, same house as collateral. Some of you might ask, how possible is it? Is it not the same title deed? But Nigerians have shown themselves to be wonderful people. You see, what some of them did, right now, banks no longer accept just written agreements, power of attorney, as collateral for loans. They will tell you they want CFO. Because people abuse it. For those who took TCF and think they will not pay, they will pay. BVN means that once your BVN is attached, any bank where you have an account can easily be traced. And once your name is submitted as a bad debtor with your BVN, then what we call GSI, Global Standard Instruction. Once it is used, any bank account attached to that BVN, that debt will be collected from that bank account. And once it's collected that way, it doesn't remove the fact that you are a debtor or that you are a bad debtor. Even after it has been collected, getting loans will be almost impossible for you. So, for those of you who take TCF, know that you will pay. For those who took ACSMIS, same thing, you're going to pay. And for those who are going to take loans from this trust fund, you will pay. So if you do not have any agricultural business to put these funds into, please do not take it. If not, trust fund will turn to trust trouble. I also want to tell you that OHUHU Microfinance Bank, which is a participating financial institution, most of you would have heard me say their exposure is just 12%. In banking, there is almost no difference between 12% exposure and 100% too, especially for the bank idea. What he has is recover. So the way he will come for that money, you will not like it if you do not repay as at when due. Meanwhile, I do not see any reason why we would not repay except in bad faith. Why would you repay? The interest rate is almost nothing. We are talking about 0.5% a month. It's almost nothing. So why would you repay? There are two major reasons why some people will not repay. Either they did not invest it properly, or ab initio they had no intent of repaying. For those planning to use a natural disaster for an excuse, I have bad news for you. We have NAIC here. NAIC is in charge of ensuring agriculture. If you say, for instance, that rescue came and killed all your pets, NAIC will go to inspect. Please don't say you have thrown away the dead pets before they arrive, though. If you say so, you are wasting your time. If your pets die, keep it and inform NAIC. NAIC, is it not so? They would come, confirm that you actually lost your pets, and then they would pay you your insurance. However, even some people that would also claim herdsmen, that's the new one. For the past 3 years, both of them who took, especially Uncle Borowa, their usual story is herdsmen, that herdsmen came and destroyed their farm. You will go to the farm, herdsmen destroyed, and you will see it was clearly harvested. You should have told us herdsmen that they harvested your rice now, instead of telling us they destroyed your farm. Most cases, you will come and see that these people harvested, though, then they will say it's herdsmen that destroyed their farm. That makes it criminal, clearly. And I would encourage all of us that will be participating in this program to avoid such scenarios, so that after this trust fund, you will be able to approach these banks on your own, which is one of the major targets of the Central Bank of Nigeria, to build your 5 C's in credit, so that after some time you can move over, approach banks on your own, take loans on your own, while other people will still get the opportunity of taking advantage of this program to develop their 5 C's.